Deloitte. Nikolai Anderson, CEO Consulting Central Europe, Deloitte. Academic forward. When Tim approached me to supervise his doctoral dissertation 4 years ago, my initial reaction was all but enthusiastic. Another research on digital transformation? Can't stand one more. These were my first thoughts. In my work as a researcher, I'm usually not excited by topics that represent big managerial hypes, and for sure, digital transformation has been, and still is, one of the most impactful in the past 40 years. I must also admit that I was a bit skeptical about a senior executive of one of the most important global consulting companies with a long-standing expertise in strategy and technology who, in my very conventional view, was obviously looking for confirmation to his and his company's beliefs on digital transformation, with a touch of science in it. Then, Tim sketched his initial ideas, and I was impressed by his genuine willingness to learn more on such an enormous phenomenon, candidly admitting that his long-term expertise as consultant had not yet provided him with the possibility to answer some big questions that his clients posited. My original reaction turned into, let's make it a joint learning journey. In hindsight, this was exactly what happened. The outcome was an outstanding doctoral research developed with a practitioner mind. This audiobook you are now listening to heavily draws upon the original research and represents a truly insightful intellectual and practical contribution for a number of reasons. It advances a novel perspective on the topic, puts it in a context so that listeners can feel it is relevant to them, and adopts an elaborated attention-catching narrative that makes the listening pleasant and intriguing. As for the novelty, Tim's effort combines solid scientific method with business acumen in providing the answer to the fundamental question to which every executive and entrepreneur embracing a digital transformation path should respond. Is it really worth the investment? Now, the smart answer to most managerial issues cannot be, but it depends. However, to make the answer even smarter, one must explain on what it depends. And this is exactly what Tim does in this audiobook. With a very innovative approach, designed by analogically associating digital transformation to a chemical reaction, the conceptual framework provided in the following pages identifies a broad set of interconnected elements that makes the value of the investment contingent on a number of external, context, and internal, organizational, factors. Therefore, listeners have the opportunity to match the characteristics of their own organizations with those factors and gain insights on how to turn the potential of digital transformation they are designing or managing into financial value. One effect of the digital revolution is that people are getting used to listening to shorter and more scattered pieces. Fragmentation seems to be a value of our times. Consequently, an audio program appears as an anachronistic object, and listening to a full audiobook is an unusual activity for the hustle and bustle of today's lives, even more if it is not a fiction, but rather a management one. I was the first reader of the original research content of this audiobook, and now that I listen to it once more in its final form as a managerial audiobook, I have no fear in saying that the listening is completely rewarding. If one compares this audiobook with the many others devoted to the same topic, the listening experience is completely different. A bold point of view instead of vague slogans. Complexity made simple instead of simplicity made complex. Managerial insights instead of ready but impossible to implement recipes. An amazing example of how good research can be the best engine for managerial insights. For this reason, I'm sure the listener will appreciate each part of it, thereby earning a fine-grained map of the uneven territory of the value of digital transformation. Gabrielle Troilo, Senior Professor and Associate Dean at SDA Bocconi School of Management, Associate Professor of Marketing at Università Bocconi. Preface. The Quest for Financial Impact. 4 years of research behind the audiobook. The original idea to write this book came to me 4 years ago in a private conversation with one of my clients, the CEO of a leading listed company. Thanks to a longtime trusted advisory